had their annual Liars Lunch meeting, except it was virtual this year. So it was just a regular pre-draft press conference. And as usual, they gave the regular, coach speak, GM speak, say a lot of things from the book of cliches as normal. But, we're going to break it down, take a look at some of the quotes and give you our thoughts on what they were saying and what this could possibly mean going into the draft. Okay, so we're gonna pull up a few quotes from Jeff Zrebick's Twitter timeline. You can follow him at Jeff Zrebick, and he's quoting Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta here. So we're gonna read some of these quotes and kind of break down what we think of it. So let's start with this one. DeCosta said he's not publicly addressing any trade discussions involving Orlando Brown Jr., nor would he confirm Alejandro Villanueva's pending visit. Said it doesn't benefit the Ravens to have that stuff out in public. What does it matter, man?
Like, I get the trade negotiations. You're not going to talk about what you're doing there, but who cares if Alejandro Villanueva's coming to visit? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You're not going to sign him before the draft. Everybody knows that. And he's been sitting out here for this long. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him. Nobody. Look, we're gonna talk more about Alejandro Villanueva this Wednesday on our live show. We're not big fans of it. I mean, it's not anything that I don't know. I'm not emotional about it one way or another. I just, it's a nothing move if we do sign him.
Yeah, it's and the thing with me is like it's not a big deal, right? It's whatever. He said what he said, but it just kind of irritates me. It's like a little pet peeve when these GMs and coaches act like they're guarding state secrets or something. Nobody cares, man. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah. As far as Orlando Brown's concerned, I think they are still trying to get a trade done. I think they have one in hand. I think we're going to see it on draft day. It's going to happen in the first round if it happens at all. So I expect it to happen. At this point, I do expect it to happen. You gotta get rid of him. You gotta take what you can for him. He's not coming back, right? Unless we're going all in on this season, right? I mean, and all in means signing AB, and drafting a wide receiver in the first round. Like really going all in on that offense to shore up the wide receiver core, to shore up the O-line. Really try to make a push for the Super Bowl. Unless we're doing that, don't bother bringing back Orlando Brown.
Right. And obviously it doesn't look like they're doing that, going all in, right?
No.
We said it in our off-season plan for the Ravens that they should have been going after the center position. We said they should have gone out and signed Corey Linsley, and then go and sign a difference maker, a wide receiver. Now, Sammy Watkins he's a dart throw. He's a lottery ticket. He's got talent. Maybe it works out. Maybe he can get back his form that he had in Buffalo. Maybe not. But you didn't go out and sign somebody who is going to make a positive impact on the offense this season.
Sure. Like you said, with Sammy Watkins, maybe he can become that. He has the tools, but you're not expecting that. They didn't sign him expecting that. So the plan with Sammy Watkins isn't, we got a difference maker. You're just hoping you get lucky.
Well, yeah, and that they're not going all in because, again, he was not their first or second or third choice at receiver.
Right.
Going all in means you identify your guy and you go and get that guy. They didn't do that.
Right.
And they're again not doing that here with Villanueva. They're just kind of sitting back and saying, hey, we'll wait until after the draft and see who's left. They're doing that with edge rusher. Hey, we'll hang back and we don't want to mess up the comp pick formula, and we'll hang back and wait and see who's left after the draft. They're not going in all in on trying to win.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of that, I want to bring up what he said about draft picks. I'm not sure if he quoted that.
Well, I saw he said that the draft is a luck-driven process, and just having more picks gives you more opportunities to draft good players.
Yeah,
which is true, and that's fine. But when you're constantly trading back to acquire more picks, you're also kind of locking yourself into a certain level of prospect. Now, like you said, it is luck. There's a lot of luck involved. So you could luck into a really good player in the 4th or 5th round, but they haven't been doing that.
Yeah, there's a reason why you have grades on these players, right? There are some players that are expected to go in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd because their level of talent is different. It's higher. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, sometimes you get some guys that fall for various reasons. Sometimes it's the red flag guys that, we don't want in Baltimore, or guys that may have, had some injury history, or guys that just haven't fully developed, whatever.
Yeah, or you miss on your eval. That happens a lot.
Yes, that happens. That happens as well. But you still have your board. You have guys that are pretty much widely known to be at a certain talent level and skill level, which is why they get the 1st round projection. So those rounds are more valuable. Mm-hmm. And we can't keep saying, well, we can just get a bunch of picks, especially lower picks, and that will be more beneficial than, say, trading up and getting a special player. You know what I mean? Right. Or signing somebody that can play.
Yeah, because John Harbaugh said that they've identified some wide receivers who fit what they do, and they'll go out and try and get them. And DeCosta said, "Hey, we know what outside linebackers look like, But here's the thing, though. Do you? Because you've drafted Hollywood, Duvernay, Prochet, and Boykin. Hollywood's been okay. He's been fine. The other 3 haven't given you anything. And granted, 2 of them are rookies, but they haven't given you anything, and there was nothing keeping them on the bench. You drafted Tyus Bowser, Jalen Ferguson, Tim Williams, Kamale Correa. You got next to nothing out of those guys. So, what do you mean you know what outside linebackers look like?
Well, I'm going to be fair. That wasn't DeCosta. That was, that's Ozzie.
Well, yeah. No, obviously, it wasn't all him. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But, as an organization, they didn't turn over all their scouts.
No.
And I don't know, they're not hitting the way that their rep would indicate they would be hitting on those picks.
So, all right, you guys already know how we feel about it. This all leads up back to Harbaugh. You have Ozzie that drafted a lot of players. Ozzie had the same. DeCosta's following the same strategy as Ozzie. Get a lot of picks, scout well, and hit on your picks. But a lot of turnover, man. There's been a lot of turnover with these draft picks, man. A lot of guys not working out. And to me, that points to John Harbaugh and his coaching staff just not developing guys like they should develop. Yeah, man. That's at some point we just have to say, look, they're not able to develop at least certain positions. At this point, I'm not sure they can develop anybody, but at least certain positions, and we have to make sure we get talent there.
Yeah, it's a combination of not doing a good job developing players, along with just missing on some picks, and also being cheap. Listen, yes. Kamale Correa should still be a Raven. He's not a great player. You can call that pick a bust. He was, I believe, he was in the 2nd round, but he's a guy who will get you 5-6 sacks a year.
Yeah.
You think Baltimore couldn't use that right now? Why were you too good to re-sign Kamale Correa?
Where is Correa now?
I'm not sure. He went to Tennessee. I don't think he's back there.
Yeah, I'm
not sure where he went.
He was a bust. He wasn't that good, but
no. But you're looking at an edge rushing group that has Jalen Ferguson and Tyus Bowser leading it.
Yeah, no,
they had a combined, I believe, 3 sacks last year.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And Pernell McPhee. All right, but yeah, point taken. Yeah, point taken. But. And that's the other thing, too. Part of the lack of development is because John Harbaugh doesn't like to play young players. So you don't really have a coaching staff that can develop those guys that's really working with them. And you don't have a head coach that's willing to play them so they can get that experience on the field.
Yeah. So they also gave up on Brashad Perryman. Again, not a great player, but he's gone elsewhere and had success.
Yeah.
More success than he had in Baltimore.
Nope, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we're not really hitting on in terms of guys that are greatly talented, but they can still contribute, and that's the whole point of getting all these draft picks is to get guys that can contribute. We're kind of going off on a tangent here, but the point is I'm not that optimistic about this past draft class. So, and the draft class before that obviously isn't going well either. Outside of Hollywood, I still like Hollywood, but yeah. So going into this draft class, the pressure's on them. It's on everybody. It's on DeCosta. It's on Harbaugh. I mean, we are in win now mode. Despite what some people might think, man, it is win now mode. We went 14-2 the year before, right? We were the number one team in the AFC. We were, what was our record this year? 12-4?
11-5.
We were 11-5 this year, and got the first round. Lost a disappointing game that we should have won to the Bills in the second round. And there's expectations. Like, the expectations isn't to go backwards. So we need to really hit on these picks because we didn't make any moves in free agency. Not really, right? So there's got to be a way that we get more talent onto this team.
Well, and listen, for the past 3 years, they've had a top 5 defense and an MVP quarterback. Right?
Yes.
I mean, he didn't win MVP every year, obviously, but he's been a very good quarterback for them. So I don't want to hear that they're not in win now mode. The reason you can look at the roster, and I agree that the roster is not good enough for them to win right now, but the reason for that is because the organization doesn't want it to be. They're not trying to win. They're not putting their best foot forward. They're not doing everything they can do. Like, yeah, you need to fix some things along the O-line, and you got to fix edge rusher, and you got to fix wide receiver. All those things could have been done. Yeah. Like I said, if you draft T. Higgins in the first round last year, we're not even talking about wide receiver right now.
Right.
And if you're trying to go all in to win a Super Bowl, keep Orlando Brown. You've got the best set of tackles in the league. You've got Kevin Zeitler, and then you have to fill in those other 2 positions. Maybe Bradley Bozeman can stick at center, but that's something that you can fix in an offseason. Those 2 spots.
Right? No, absolutely. They want to win their way, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
If they believe they can win that way, that's fine. But it hasn't worked so far, and I'm starting to wonder, like, do they believe they can win this way, or are they just trying to pinch pennies? Because you can't look at this team with a head coach that doesn't like to play young players and think all we have to do is keep drafting young players.
Right.
Like that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like that can't be what you're thinking. So, no, man, like getting more and more draft picks. I understand because DeCosta said it as well. When Lamar gets his new deal, you're not going to have as much money to work with to sign free agents, which also I don't buy that either, right? Salary cap is about to go up a lot. And just because you give your quarterback a huge deal doesn't mean you don't have the ability to sign anyone else. So, I like how you try to throw that excuse out there right now why he's not going to sign anybody in the future. He didn't do it while Lamar was on his rookie deal. He's not going to do it after Lamar.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, you don't get to use that card when you wasted the last 3 years not spending money.
Right. Or you spent it in the wrong place. Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, spend it, around Lamar.
Right.
You didn't spend any money around Lamar.
Yeah.
So you don't get to use the excuse of his contract going forward as to why you're not putting pieces around him.
Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. Lamar, he's probably going to get between 45, 50 mil a year, something like that. I hope he does. And when that happens, that doesn't take up all of your salary cap, right? Like that's not all the salary cap. There's enough money to sign other players. If they look at it and say, okay, things are getting a little tight here, we have to open up some cap room so we can add more on the offense, you better start looking at that defense. And you guys know what's coming. You know it. Defund the defense.
Hashtag defund the defense.
Hashtag defund the defense.
I don't think that Lamar is going to get quite as much as you think. I think he'll be over 40, but his cap number is never going to be 40. It's never going to be over 40. They're going to keep pushing that number back, just like every team with a franchise quarterback does. At least they should be. Yeah. Don't let Lamar Jackson sit on the cap with a $42 or $43 million hit and let the GM tell you, hey, that's why we can't sign anybody. It's BS.
Look, I know we come off as haters. We come off as negative, right? We see the comments. We're not being negative, man. We are not. We are saying that this team is close to a Super Bowl. That's not being negative. That's not being negative. We are saying if they do the right things this offseason, they can win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. There's nothing negative about that, but we got to see them do it. Right. You got to act like you're in it. You know, you look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay said, we're all in right now. Tom Brady isn't a long-term solution, but they said, hey, Jameis Winston isn't good enough. We have a bunch of talent. So let's bring in Tom Brady, who can get it done. Oh, by the way, we're going to bring in AB, even though we had 2 top 10 wide receivers on the team already. And also, let's bring in Gronk. And let's bring in Leonard Fournette, too. Why not? Right?
And they just signed Gio Bernard.
And they just signed Gio Bernard.
Okay. Listen, if you're Baltimore, you can look at this team and say, hey, we want to win a Super Bowl right now. Let's sign Antonio Brown. We're not going to trade Orlando. You know, he can walk next year for a comp pick because we love comp picks. So we'll keep him. And we'll maybe draft a edge rusher in the first, draft a guard or center in the second, and draft an edge rusher in the third. And tell me that team's not competing for a Super Bowl.
I agree. All right, so we forgot to mention one very important quote from EDC regarding the wide receivers. What was that quote, B?
Okay, so DeCosta said, we want to have good players at every position. I'm aware that there's some fan discontent with our wide receivers and our drafting and all that. Shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take. In general, I look at our record and how we win games and how we played football, and I'm proud of the team. We've got some really good young receivers. It's insulting to these guys when they hear we don't have any receivers. It's quite insulting. I'm insulted by it too, to be honest. I think we've got some guys who want to show everybody what they can do. And to that, I say you should be insulted. The product that you're putting out there at wide receiver is insulting to all of us as fans. I'm not a Ravens fan, but when you say, hey, no, we can win with this. We can win with Miles Boykin on the outside. We can win with Devin Duvernay and Willie Snead and James Prochet. That's insulting to the fans.
Yeah, you may not be a Ravens fan, but you're a football fan, and he's insulting your intelligence, right? We don't have good wide receivers. We have a good wide receiver, good young wide receiver in Hollywood. Those other guys, what are they going to be? You think they're going to be stars? No. Duvernay might turn out to be a solid player, maybe in the right scheme, not the current scheme that we're in now, but Prochet's not going to turn into anything. Let's just be honest about it, man. Prochet's not going to be anything, and that's not me rooting against him. As long as he's a Raven, I'm going to root for all the guys on the team, but we got to be realistic. This team has never historically developed wide receivers, and they're not about to start with a third rounder and a sixth rounder. That ain't happening.
Right. And it's fine that they feel insulted. I mean, they should. I'm sure they feel like they're better than what they've shown so far. And that's great. Go out and show it. Until you show it, I don't want to hear Eric DeCosta talking about it's an insult. They had the fewest yards and I believe also the fewest catches at wide receiver in the NFL. It's not because they're great.
Listen, and we all know that's BS. He's just talking because he's not going to put down his players. Mm-hmm. That's just him talking. There's a reason why you signed Sammy Watkins. There's a reason why you made an offer to Juju Smith-Schuster. There's a reason why you inquired about Kenny Galladay. Because your wide receivers aren't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, John Harbaugh was
you're probably going to draft a wide receiver.
Right. He's talking about, they've got some guys that they're targeting and they're going to go get one of them. Why? You have good young receivers.
Exactly.
I mean, it's insulting to say you need anything more, right?
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things where you don't have to go that far. You don't have to go that far because now you're insulting our intelligence, right? You're going to try to tell us that we don't know what a good wide receiver looks like. I know what a good wide receiver looks like. We don't have that.
I mean, listen, Hollywood, Sammy Watkins. Yes, yeah. Well, no, Hollywood, Sammy Watkins, Devin Duvernay, Miles Boykin, James Prochet. That's 5 wide receivers. Where are you putting this guy you're drafting? Because those are 5 good wide receivers. So where are you going to put a wide receiver that you draft? You carrying 6? You carrying 7? What is it?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
If you have 5 good wide receivers, you don't need to draft one.
Well, if they draft one, then it's going to be a 6-way battle. See? Yeah, especially. So you think if we draft one in the first round, it's gonna be a 6-way battle? You think Prochet has the same chance that first round pick has?
Right.
No, of course not.
That's it. That just say, listen, yeah, we need to get better. That's all.
That's it.
Or don't address it. Nobody's
Exactly.
forcing you to address what fans say on Twitter or on YouTube.
Say the same nonsense that you always say. Now we like our guys. I mean, he started out saying that. Hey, we like our guys. They play tough and all that stuff, and they want to show that they're getting better. Okay, just leave it at that. Just stop right there. When you go further, now you're doubling down on nonsense. We all know it's nonsense. We all know that's where you need help. We all know that's where Lamar needs help. Lamar said that last year he wanted AB on the team. He's working out with AB right now.
Listen, man.
He wants better play from wide receivers.
It's just annoying, right? Like, don't come out crying to the media. Go do your job. If you did your job, nobody would be saying that. If you drafted T. Higgins, nobody would be saying that. If you signed Antonio Brown, nobody would be saying that. Go do your job. Don't complain to us.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. Again, I don't want to sound like we're being super harsh, but this team is close. This team is close, and you can't let moves like this hold you back. So, yeah, man, we're going to keep the pressure on them, and hopefully this is just what we think it is. It's just, GM talk, and, when they go into the draft, they'll get the guy that they need, and, we'll actually have some good players that won't be insulting to the eyes.